Hey, how's it going everyone? Welcome back to the channel, and today I'm really excited to finally get to talk about Frankenstein.
What manner of devil made him? I did. I had a vision.
So this is the so manyth adaptation of Frankenstein, this time directed by Guillermo del Toro, which is one of the main reasons why I was so incredibly excited about this movie. Guillermo del Toro is one of my favorite directors ever. He did movies like the Hellboy movies, Pacific Rim, Pan's Labyrinth, The Shape of Water. He's done a lot of really famous movies, so you've probably seen a Guillermo del Toro movie at some point. And I gotta say that like Pan's Labyrinth is one of my favorite movies of all time. I saw it, I think maybe like a year ago, and it really blew my mind. I still think about that movie to this day. So yeah, I was really excited to get to see this new version of Frankenstein through his vision. It stars a bunch of famous actors, but mostly Oscar Isaac, Jacob Elordi, Mia Goth, Christoph Waltz, just to name a few. This cast is absolutely stacked, and there were multiple moments throughout this movie where I was like, hey, that's that actor. Lars Mikkelsen is in this, and Ralph Ineson, which I was actually quite surprised by. So yeah, this cast, like I said, is absolutely stacked, and it's absolutely great. But to be fair, the main standouts to me are Oscar Isaac and Jacob Elordi, the two main characters. Jacob Elordi transcends his pretty boy image from Euphoria. He plays the creature in which his looks are not so much on the table as they are in other projects he's been in. But he is actually fantastic in this. I also, during some scenes, he looked like really tall, so I had to Google it. Apparently, he's like 6'5". Yeah, he looks tall, so I was like, I had to Google it. He plays this at times scary creature. Like there are certain scenes where he is truly this menacing being. But there's also a lot of scenes in which he is incredibly compassionate, which I think were also very convincing. I thought he did a fantastic job. Same for Oscar Isaac, who was this obsessed scientist, Victor Frankenstein, of course. You know what Victor Frankenstein is like. And he did a fantastic job of this obsessed scientist who stops at nothing to achieve his goal. So yeah, I think this cast did an amazing job. So this is one of my most anticipated movie of the year, and I gotta say that I'm glad that it didn't disappoint, because some of the other movies that I was excited for this year were quite disappointing. So I'm glad that this one wasn't. One of the other major things that I really liked about the movie is the way it looks. It is visually stunning, this gothic horror world. It looks absolutely stunning. It's very much Guillermo del Toro. One of my favorite locations in this movie was Frankenstein's tower, which at times looks absolutely gruesome. He has corpses everywhere because, of course, he's making a man out of different men. So his tower is sometimes covered in blood and guts and everything, and it just looked awesome. I loved it. One of my favorite set pieces from the movie is the moment when Victor Frankenstein brings the creature to life. That is an awesome scene with lots of suspense. There are a bunch of other scenes, like the opening of the movie. The prologue is also very, very cool, which is the scene that you've seen in the trailer with the ship in the Arctics. And there were plenty of other scenes in the movie that were visually stunning and great. And I don't know, the story, it's a long movie. It's 2.5 hours long. And it really takes its time to get there. One of the few issues that I did have with the movie is that at the beginning of the movie, I felt like some things were kind of moving a little slow. And then there was a moment in the movie towards the end where I actually felt like the movie was going kind of fast. I don't want to spoil too much, but it's this scene in the Arctics that leads up to the prologue that you saw in the movie. I felt like we got there like really quickly. I was like, oh, we're already there? That went really fast in my opinion, even though in the beginning of the movie I felt like things were moving quite slow. Not necessarily bad slow, but they were just taking its time with it. Like I said, that's one of the few issues I had with the movie. There aren't a lot of other major things that I didn't like about it. I mean, it's not like a story you haven't seen before. I mean, this story of someone making a creature that ends up being the good guy, really, that has been done before. I mean, I actually think that Tron Ares is kind of like that. Of course, so many other adaptations of Frankenstein. There are, I think, a lot of stories within pop culture and movie history as a whole that adapt this sort of story. So it's not like anything like super new. But to see it with this Guillermo del Toro coat of paint is definitely something cool, and I definitely think it's worth watching. especially considering that it's going to release on Netflix November 7th. It currently has a short theatrical run, and I'm glad that I got to see it on the big screen because, like I said, the movie is absolutely stunning. If you do get the chance, you like this sort of stuff, you like Guillermo del Toro's movies, I absolutely think it's worth going out of your way to go see this in theaters. And otherwise, just check it out on Netflix. I can't not recommend this movie if it's just going to be on Netflix in like a week. So please go out and see Frankenstein. It's fantastic. There's one other thing about it. There's a big difference between the two kinds of different Guillermo del Toro movies. It's either more action-y fantasy or it's more drama fantasy. And to be fair, from the trailer, I thought this was going to be more action-y horror fantasy, but it ended up leaning more towards the drama-like fantasy such as Pan's Labyrinth and The Shape of Water. I guess that kind of led me to have some false expectations for the movie, though that didn't really take away from it, because especially now that I've had like a day or two to think about it, this movie is absolutely fantastic. It says a lot about obsession and, well, like I said, that's kind of what Victor Frankenstein is known for. Not really considering the consequences of what he's creating, which I also think is something that is very true nowadays with all the creation of AI and that sort of stuff. I think that says a lot about how we are as a society as a whole, but also right now. So, like I said, great message in the movie. And like I said, the whole Victor Frankenstein is the real monster of the story, not the creature that he makes, which, like I said, has been done to death within movie history. But still, this is it is a more literal version of that. But like I said, it's great. So there was also one story bit towards the end of the movie that they kind of threw in there about the creature wanting a companion that I felt like they kind of blew over really fast, which was kind of odd because I thought it would be a bigger deal within the movie, but it wasn't really. Actually, towards the end of this movie, after coming out of the theaters, I thought to myself, like, Victor Frankenstein is a super interesting character. Like, as a whole. You see his journey from beginning to end. You see that he has quite a bad relationship with his father, and that kind of makes him the man that he is more towards later in the movie when he creates the creature. He has this obsession with bringing back the dead because of a loss he's had to deal with when he was younger, and to prove his father wrong. And that kind of makes him this crazy, obsessed man that brings bad luck to all the people around him. That's pretty much as I can say without spoiling the movie. But I think you kind of get the idea. So like I said, if you have the chance to go see it on the big screen, please do. And otherwise, just wait for it to come on Netflix next week on November 7th. Please go watch Frankenstein. Like I said, it's very worthwhile. If you like these gothic horror kinds of movies, if you like the more fantasy dramas, that type of stuff, if you're a fan of Pan's Labyrinth or The Shape of Water like I am, then please go and watch this. It's fantastic. So, with that being said, I'm pretty sure it's quite a short review, but I don't necessarily have that much to say about it, other than that it's great, and you should just go out and see it for yourself. So for now, I want to thank you guys all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye!